All right, I'm going to try and explain one of these carburetors here for a subscriber from Italy. I do not have one of these to take apart, and I don't have one to take apart and show exactly how it works. So I'll do my best to show you through the manual, which that subscriber was kind enough to include on the email, which was pretty cool. A lot of folks don't know how to do stuff like that, so you are definitely on the right track there. I guess I can start with the parts breakdown here. Let's see if we can make this bigger. That I think will work. This needle here runs through the top of this. I called them a barrel or valve. It looks like they call that 16. 3. They're calling it the valve assembly for the throttle. So this runs all the way down through, I believe that's a nozzle. Yep. And this needle gets lifted up by the rotation of your where your throttle cable would connect to. There's a little arm here and a ramp. So when you pull the throttle cable, that arm, that the throttle, say my thumb is the cable and then my hand's the arm, pencil's the ramp. When you pull the cable, it ends up riding up that ramp. It lifts this little nozzle, this needle up, which allows more fuel to flow through this nozzle. This is just a valve, same as what's on the sink or the water hose. It's just a different style of valve. because this nozzle here is situated in the center of the venturi, the drop in pressure right after the venturi sucks fuel out of that nozzle. So the faster the air rate, the greater the drop in pressure, the more fuel it's going to pull out of there. Also, the higher this needle is lifted out of there, the greater the amount of fuel it will allow through this nozzle or orifice. As this one has a fixed high jet, the only way you would increase your fueling at high speeds would be to raise this needle, so shim your ramp so it picks it up more already, or I don't know how much adjusting it at idle will affect your carburetor, but sometimes that can affect fueling as well. Your low mixture adjustment can affect your idle as well as your higher RPMs. I want to say in the classes they said around 15% of the fuel at full throttle is supplied by that low speed circuit. That may be accurate for this particular carburetor, it may not. So this is a stratified carburetor, so it'll be separated on top. If you're also trying to increase your fuel mixture at high RPMs by, I don't know, if you could restrict this passage, it would force the engine to try and pull more through here, or it just, I don't know, it may just make it run poorly. I honestly haven't fooled with these too much outside of adjusting metering levers and tuning these. Your metering lever is down here. That can affect fueling at all RPM ranges. I've had blowers where they any adjustment I made on the carburetor had very little effect. I pulled, or any external adjustment for fueling, pulled the cover, found out there was wear in the metering lever, and I had to raise the lever so that every time that little diaphragm pulsed, it would open further. And this is kind of hard to explain with just a 2D picture. It's a whole lot easier if you have the actual part on hand. This one shows that top passage is fresh air. You kind of get a little bit of a breakdown with where you can see that needle I was talking about runs all the way through this nozzle here. The nozzle would be the gray area. There's some sort of passage, it looks like, on the side of the nozzle because they colored it in red for fuel. And then there's passages all through here. I know the needle, I always call it a needle. Here's your metering lever like I was talking about. When this pulses, it moves that needle up and down, and it allows more fuel through. Yeah. So if you have a fueling issue for high and you don't have an adjustable high circuit, you could probably get some adjustment with the metering lever. You could probably get some adjustment with your low mixture screw. You could probably shim that ramp if you were so inclined. That's just a few things. If the carburetor is a few years old, I would really suggest try throwing a new set of diaphragms in it, because if you are lacking for fuel on the high RPMs, you could be lacking for fuel on low RPMs as well. If these diaphragms cannot flex properly to your whole pump in this carburetor is one of those diaphragms that's exposed to a crankcase pulse. That's how it pumps. So if your pump is not pliable enough, it's not going to move the correct volume through here either. And the instructions here, or the information here, I think explains it fairly well. I just don't have a dang I don't have the dang carburetor to take apart to show you better. See, wide open throttle. The throttle lever will ride to the highest point on the lever. That's what we're talking about up here. This piece pivots, and then this is actually a ramp that while it turns, it goes up the ramp, pulls this inner needle higher, and allows more fuel through the nozzle. And it gives you the adjustments. Here's where I'm talking about the metering lever. There's actually a setting for it, and here's where they're talking about to obtain a leaner setting, apply enough pressure to the opposite end of the lever. To obtain a richer setting, place your second screwdriver beneath the lever, bend it up to contact the metering diaphragm earlier. So that's the part where I was talking about, hey, if you adjust this, you can adjust fueling at all RPMs, and then adjusting this has a major effect on the idle or your low RPMs, and a smaller effect on your high RPMs. Sorry I wasn't able to break it down a little bit better. That's just my shot, and I really apologize for taking so long to respond to your email and make a video on this one. So if I run across one of these while I'm at work, or if I'm picking up parts at one of the other shops sometime, I may ask if they'll let me dig through the box of misfit carburetors, and then maybe I can show you a little bit better. Another thing to keep in mind is any passages on a carburetor are straight, unless they can cast them in. But anything that is a specific size is drilled to a specific size, and a little bitty drill bit cannot turn. So if you push a little fuel through here, you'll be able to see where it comes out. And then likewise anywhere else, if you have a can of solvent where you put that little straw in to one of the pinholes in the carb, and gently spray it, and you see it shoot out somewhere else, then that's where that passage goes. But yeah, there's the carb one. I'm working on the oil one as well. So, uploading this one tonight.